In case somebody cusses. I don't know.
In case somebody what's again?
Cusses.
Oh, I get.
Curses.
Okay.
Not really, I just said that.
All right. All right. So what's up, everybody? It's another episode of the Almighty Music Maniacs program here on YouTube, and me, YR, Arknoise Strogobin, are live once again, as I mentioned a few times. And tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit more different. In the past we looked at one-hit wonders, and this time we're going to look at one-hit wonders that weren't supposed to be one-hit wonders. They tried to follow up that one massive breakout single with a couple others, only those singles didn't exactly do too well. And after that, they just faded into obscurity, I guess. Needless to say there. And believe me, this has happened a few times, many times before to be exact, folks. Okay, alright, so, do we have any music news to talk about before we begin, or anything else?
Nothing real.
I know you were talking about a couple of seconds ago about the Bush concert that's going to be coming down to Orlando, Florida.
Because they're doing another leg of the tour, basically.
I see.
So they're not coming back to Texas because they're already here, but they're doing other cities, obviously, Florida and other places. And they're coming out with the Greatest Hits album, basically, as well, called Loaded. They added a song on there, a new song. I think... that one guy from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame got basically fired. And did you hear about that?
No, what happened here? I just heard about it now.
Oh, this is huge news. Hold on.
All right, yeah, definitely get it to us.
I gotta read this. I gotta send you something on it. The Rolling Stone founder or head of the Rolling Stone magazine basically got fired from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Is that the idiot that wasn't allowing groups in he didn't like?
Is that John got...
The reason he got fired, guys, is... I need to find his name. Is he said... Basically, he wrote this book, and I guess he interviewed people, and they were all white people in music, and someone asked him, why didn't you interview any black or women or black people? And he said some, like, really nasty thing about, like, they don't have any talents, or they don't have it, something like that, and... He got ostracized and basically canceled. But I need to find his name, guys, because this is huge news. I can't believe
is his first name spelled Jan by chance?
Yes, John. Yes.
Because I remember hearing that name a couple times.
That's right. Yeah, look that up, Brown, because there's a bunch on that. There's a huge stuff. He's like the owner or something of Rolling Stone magazine, but he's like part of the voting committee of the Hall of Fame.
I'm trying to find his name right now. So does the last name spell with a K?
I don't know, but your first name's right on that.
I'm still looking for it because there's so many other people with the same first name.
With Cronin's name? You look like Sid.
Yo, so did y'all see?
Yes.
What do you... I need to ask.
Where are my manners? Good evening, Mr. Park. Good evening, Mr. Earl. Good evening, Mr. Republican.
All right.
Let me ask you a quick question while Brown's looking that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Were you ever exposed to Selena in your life ever? Serious question.
No.
Well, it must be just like a Southern or a Texas thing. She was from here, obviously.
Yes.
But
yeah, she is.
Looking back at what it is now,
yes.
And obviously J-Lo did her thing, but more kind of rap, not rap, but just hip hop, street vibes or whatever. J-Lo.
Yes.
But like you look at the pop stars / just whatever, like there's really not. I mean, because she did that one big like English song that was a big hit. I forgot what it was, but. Like, bro, she was so I mean, bro, like people in Texas, she's like a huge deal, kind of like Rocky and
She's
in
like a
Philadelphia.
icon.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's, you know what I'm
She
saying?
was one of the
And
pioneers of Tejano music, basically.
Yes.
but I was just seeing SC because in the Mexican household or the Hispanic household, I mean, what are y'all exposed to? Like that Telemundo or Univision or like what? Like what do y'all?
Back then, when I used to live with my parents, yeah, my mother used to love Selena. But the thing now is, and believe it or not, Carl G. She's really, to be honest,
That's why I was kind of getting there. Like it's kind of like the. Is she just
honest,
doesn't do any songs in English? Any English songs or no?
Well, she did release that one English single called Dreaming of You that became a big hit, and this was after her death in 1995.
um,
And crack open a nice cold Coors.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Damn, what the fuck is going on?
Tucker Brown, did you go to the castle this week? Did you find any articles on the Jahan guy?
Yes, his name is John Weiner.
John Wiener?
John Weiner.
Wiener.
Weiner, yes, Weir. Okay, there. Okay,
Weird.
now, apparently his opinions, and this is...
SC, did you see the video that Cronin shot on Shaz real quick?
Yes, I saw that.
Did you see what I put up? Did you see I had to add the pic? You know that show? You know that movie Matilda? The movie Matilda, guys? And it has Danny DeVito as like the car salesman, as like the greasy car salesman. That's Extreme Chat. But go ahead, guys. I made a video. I put it on my channel yesterday.
I saw it, yeah. I saw it a few minutes ago before I went live.
You can't get mad at me. I mean, Cronin said it.
I mean,
I
that's
mean, like
true.
Shaq-
Though. Yeah, he went off on the guy, so don't blame us, folks.
Like
Here's what
Shaq, don't get all fucking butthurt at me. I mean, come on. But go ahead. Look, I didn't know about this news for a couple of days. First of all, Brock.
all right, there.
And Eddie Trunk today, he was talking about like, oh, because this guy's gone, because he was hating on like your Boston, your REO Speedwagons, your
Rock.
Jethro Tull.
Rogers, bad companies type thing. Still, obviously, a big one
Yeah.
there. And
Hold on.
but they're saying, hold on a minute, let me finish my statements real quick. But they're saying that don't even like him gone. That don't matter because it's like, yeah, you're removing one wheel off the car, but you need to remove all four wheels off that car, off that wagon there, rather. And that's there's other people
Okay.
that it's more they just people don't know, Dr. Brown. People just don't. I mean, obviously people like SC. I mean, he knows your common sense. I think SC has common sense in the musical genre.
Mm-hmm.
SC obviously more of the Spaniard groups.
Yeah.
Fro. Getty Lee's asking if you could join.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Katie
let's
Lee, brother.
add them. Okay, there. Here's the article from the Hollywood Reporter.
Earl, go ahead and add him, dude.
Okay. Rolling Stone co-founder John Weiner has issued an apology following controversial comments he made about black and female musicians not being, quote, accurate enough to be inducted or included into his new book. The apology came this past Saturday evening, a few hours after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation.
Not accurate. The word they kept using was articulate enough.
Okay,
so
my
basically,
bad.
like, do they have like the brains to be as good as the great white musicians?
I see.
Which that's a horrible statement because there's a ton of
Yeah.
women and black geniuses in music.
Hold on. Scott is asking if you could join, actually, too. No.
Really?
We're getting kind of filled up here on the thing. So go ahead, Brown. We need
Okay, anyways, the apology came this past Saturday night, a few hours after the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation announced that he was being removed from his position on the board of directors. In an interview with the New York Times, which was published Friday online to promote his new book, The Masters, Weiner said he did not include interviews from both black and female musicians in this book because they aren't articulate enough. On Saturday, he said he apologized wholeheartedly for his comments.
Unbelievable.
In my interview with the New York Times, he stated, I made comments that diminished the contributions, genius, and impact of black and women artists, and I apologize wholeheartedly for those remarks. He said in a statement given to the Hollywood Reporter, The Masters is a collection of interviews I've done throughout the years that seem to be to best represent an idea of rock and roll's impact on my world. They are not meant to represent the whole of music and its diverse and important originators, but to reflect the high points of my career and interviews. I felt illustrated the breadth and the experience. Just things keep popping up below the article here.
Yeah, no, wait.
Experience in that career. They don't reflect my appreciation and admiration for Myred Totermek, or whatever that word is. World-changing artists whose music and ideas I revere and will celebrate and promote as long as I live. I totally understand the rapture of badly chosen words and deeply apologize and accept the consequences.
Come on, no, wait, now, hold on.
Alright? His book features interviews from such rock legends as Bono from U2, Jerry Garcia, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, and of course Pete Townsend. But it does not include any interviews with any musicians who are female or black. Asked by the Times how he chose the musicians to feature, he replied, when I was referring to the Zedegists, I was referring to black performance, not to the female performance, okay? Just to get that accurate. The selection was not a deliberate selection. It was a kind of whatever that word is.
Intuitive.
Yeah, thank you. Over the years, it just fell together that way.
Hey,
The people had to meet a
slow
couple.
down.
What?
YR's trying to say something.
No. All right,
Dr.
what do you
Black,
want to say?
I got a
Yeah?
question.
Go ahead.
Do you really believe that
Come on, no, wait, now, hold on.
obviously there's tons of women and African American artists and everything, but do you believe that how do I word this? You like all, basically, is what I'm getting to. You like all, or do you believe that the white was the first? 'Cause I believe African and black was basically, they created music first, technically, with the drums, African drums, and everything like that. Like, I think the African people and everything created music first. But what is your opinion? You know what I'm saying?
I will say something that one of the guys from the band Living Colour said. Rock and roll is basically black music. It came from the blues. It came from that hardcore, and everybody else just picked up on it, including the white British kids, including Jagger, Richards, Clapton, Lennon, all those young musicians back then, around the early 60s. They picked up on those artists big time.
That is true.
I mean, like, you remember when John Lennon and Yoko Ono co-hosted the Mike Douglas show back in the 70s? One of the first people he invited, his idol, Chuck Berry.
That's when Yoko Ono, she was yelling during the song.
Yep,
Really?
absolutely. Their version of Johnny Be Good. And the look on Barry's face when she started doing it, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Yoko, shut the hell up, for crying out loud. Just play your congas and be quiet, for crying out loud.
Yoko the Clown from Howard Stern?
I don't know, it's whichever there.
You wait. SC, look up, it's Yoko Ono. She broke up the Beatles. She was the
No,
girlfriend.
she did not break us. She did not break up the Beatles. The Beatles broke themselves up.
Was she the lover?
She was John Lennon's second wife.
Yeah,
Dang. Yeah. See, women always get in fucking business.
yeah. You know how this stuff gets, like James Harden and Tom
Well,
Brady.
Yeah, bro.
Really don't believe Yoko Ono, like, kind of call, like, just
Oh no.
what's it called? Basically, like, took John Lennon's mind off the band and on her more is the reason. You know what I'm
Well,
The little
maybe yes,
chinita-
maybe no.
Is it the little chinita from Living All the People?
saying? Oh,
No, huh?
is it true you go to? Oh, actually, we have to talk about the tribute, the Judas Priest tribute I saw. We have to talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, they played in Dallas not too long ago. I saw with it. I guess the full performance of that. That's on your channel.
Do you miss Dallas now? Do you miss it?
Out in the cold, yo.
Out in the cold mountain, Brokeback Mountain.
SC, did you Can you shut up so Brown can finish, please? Thank you.
Right, yeah,
Yes, thank you. Let's get it back to the article here.
So,
When asked
sewing
by
up
the
sombrero.
wait a minute, what the super? Okay, let me do
SC
this.
sewing up sombreros over there. You know,
All right.
guys making socks, Mexican socks. You know what I mean?
When asked by the Times how he chose the musicians to feature, Wiener replied, "Quote: I was referring to the Zeitgeist, whatever it's how it's pronounced. I was referring to black performers, not to the female performers. Okay, just to get that accurate. The selection was not a deliberate selection. It was kind of intentive over the years. It just fell together that way. The people had to meet a couple of criteria. It was just kind of my personal interest and love of them.
Ooh.
Insofar as the women, just none of them were as accurately enough on this intelligent level," he said.
Yes.
Times reporter David Marches, a one-time online editor at Rolling Stone, pushed back on that claim by citing Joni Mitchell.
Well,
Wiener replied, "It's not that they're not creative geniuses. It's not that they're, that word once again, although, go have a deep conversation with Grace Slick or Janis Joplin. Be my guest. You know, Joni was not a philosopher of rock and roll. She didn't, in my mind, meet that test. Not by her work, not by other interviews that she did. The people I interviewed were the kind of philosophers of rock, a black artist. You know, Stevie Wonder, genius, right? I suppose when you use a word broad as masters, the fault is saying that word. Maybe Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield. I mean, they just didn't reach that level." Wiener said he bases... What?
Are they also offended that he named it Masters? And they're offended that it's called Masters, like the slave masters.
No, I don't. No, I think it's because the masters of rock and roll. I'm not too sure if that's the
Like basically,
title.
they're mad that they didn't include any black or women in the Masters.
that's true.
Well, find this. Well, all I can say is, you know,
Earl wants to say, "Go cry me a river."
no, that's. I think we all would say that right now. I'm sure Ark would agree because he spoke about many times that this is one of the guys who did not want prog rock bands like Jethro Tull, King Crimson to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before there, if I'm correct.
Yes. No, they're not in there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially King Crimson. So, needless to say, this guy is no longer part of the Rock and Roll Hall Foundation, but in a way, it's by his own choice, by his own words and his own actions. So, he did something incredibly stupid there, and now as a result, he has find some other work to do, I guess. Now the question is, will we ever see, as a result of his departure or firing, whichever the two you prefer to use, will we ever see Jethro Tull, King Crimson, or the other prog rock giants like Gentle Giant, or the early Genesis? Well, Genesis is already in there, but it's mostly for the hit single Genesis that we know for the past up teen years, other than the prog progressive Genesis with Peter Gabriel as their frontman.
Dr. Burrow.
So, either way, John Wiener out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because his preference to interview people instead of look at the whole spectrum. Well, all I can say is, he kind of dug his grave with what he did there. That's all I got to say.
You guys know what really grinds my gears?
What?
That Cronin thinks like he could be a commentator. He thinks like he's unique, but he always does that. What's that guy?
Can you tell this is not a drama show, please?
Yeah,
Can you
wait,
please-
SC, dude, we're not talking about Cronin, okay? He said that sentence has been said so many times before,
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say,
and it's wore itself out.
he's like, they're coming down. Now. I hate when he does that. Sorry. That's it. Thank you.
Yes. And you know what? It's best he not work for the WWE because he doesn't need whoever's in charge blasting in his ear, reminding him to remind everybody about this pay-per-view, that pay-per-view, what to say, what not to say. He needs to work in an environment where he's able to be himself. And right now, the Indies are a better option.
I think it's
That's all I'm going to say.
Joe Cronin does an AR-15 as well.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, Extreme Shaft is in my chat, by the way, saying, is this one of those weird troll streams Joe Cronin was talking about?
Yes.
Well, all I can say is a lot more better than what he's been putting out.
Well, the guy's been contemplating suicide for 25 years now.
Yeah, and...
that. Go eat a bowl.
Okay.
The guy has 45 kids and 45 fake jobs. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. So, all right. Shall we just start with the list?
Like telling us.
That is my favorite meme. Guy has 45 kids and 300 jobs.
God.
I just so happens to go live when all the big, huge WWE news comes out. You know what I'm saying? On Sunday, the guy says he has to go to Jamaica to do a business deal. Meanwhile, Monday morning, he's fucking in his office.
Wait a minute. He
doing
said
DMRs.
that?
The guy's going to Jamaica to do his business deal. I'll be gone for 3 weeks. Can't do any shows. Meanwhile, the next day, he pops up in his damn basement doing a Raw review. Come on. Another fake job. Like, come on.
We all know what he
Gotta go.
always says about Raw. The same old, same old. It sucks. It blows. It's garbage and all that.
Brown, this isn't a damn drama show, you prick.
Well, tell that to SC. He brought it up.
SC, come on, stop manipulating Dr. Brown to talk drama on a
Quit
music
it.
show.
Quit. Yeah, stick to the topic we're going to talk about.
I'm sorry.
Nah, but the list. He is just laughing because I said about the 45-45 go. That's some new stuff, you know.
Well,
Guys, 45 kids, 45 fake jobs. Come on. You know what I mean? Everyone can copy that, too. I think it's pretty good crap. Well,
yeah, we should probably send this to JD from NY for him to use.
The guy says he's gonna go on vacation to Jamaica. The next day he goes live from his.
outlandish shit like, oh, I had to go to deliver 15 pallets of, like he's fucking Tony doing a trucking. Yeah, something. They go up to damn New Hampshire to deliver this box of WWE.
Holy fuck, dude! I can't, dude. I can't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Guys, so this list today, where we can maybe mention some of these one-hit wonders, but
Well,
what
One Hit
that,
Wonders who tried to continue that streak with a couple other singles, but they didn't do as well.
all right, so
I got one here, a group called
I'm kind
Stereo
of confused on
MCs.
that, to be honest. You're gonna have to give me some examples.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
here's an example. Stereo MCs from England. They had this song called Connected that was a massive hit in the early 90s. They tried to follow it up, that single, with some other song whose name I forgot, and that sadly didn't do so well, unfortunately.
A group by the name of the Raspberries with a song called Lemon Drop. I've not heard that one.
Are you talking the Raspberries that said that did go all the way?
Yeah.
Eric Carmen.
Yes.
They had quite a few songs. Head First, Go All the Way.
Well, you know the bass, but Estibolita. Do you have some type of song about tortillas or something? What do you have? Okay. Go ahead, Ark.
Bobby Boris Pickett released a song called Monster Mash that was a huge hit, and everything he did after that did nothing. Star Trek, which was a parody on Star Trek. King Kong, which was about King Kong. And then Monster Rap, which was a rap version of Monster Mash. And none of them did a thing.
What year did the rap come out? 80s?
Early 1980s.
I see.
Well, a band by the name of Queen.
I think they had a few.
Oh, they had lots of them, man.
Now, what about that? The Champs, the Tequila song. They didn't have any other. The
Tequila song?
Oh yeah, the Pee Wee Herman song.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then like the one dude, Gary Glitter, the hey, like stuff like that, right? Like basically people just one-hit wonders, but they didn't have any. Did they have any? I mean, I don't really know.
Well, I know Gary Glitter had only, he had basically a few others, but his big one was, of course, Rock and Roll Part 1 or Part 2 that was used in all the sporting events for a long time. And, of course, he had a couple other small hit songs like I Didn't Know I Loved You Until I Saw You Rock and Roll. And, of course, Do You Want to Touch Me, which Joan Jett covered later on in her career.
There was a group in the 60s called the Cascades that had a big song called Rhythm of the Rain.
I heard that song, yes.
They released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 other singles, and not a one of them. The highest chart one was 61.
Wow. Interesting.
And several of them didn't chart at all.
Wow. Interesting. That's, in a way, that's kind of a sad because, especially for the record company and the management, because they pushed in so hard to get this group over the top once again with that first song, and all the other songs they've been putting out hasn't been doing so well. You can imagine the big stress that's on all their minds.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, very bizarre. So sadly, I think there was Chumbawamba. They had that one song, of course, Tud Thumping, which is a dumb title. With that, I get knocked down, but I get up again. I guess they tried to follow it up with another song, but that came and went within the same week, unfortunately. You know what? I don't think I even remember that song to be exactly. That was supposed to follow up the hit song they had. And probably just as well because one, I never liked the song and I never liked the group, especially after finding out they're a whole bunch of anarchists.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that.
Right, Essie, want to add to the topic here?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll mute myself. Maybe you guys ask me questions, but I'm here. I'm back. Doing laundry at the same time. You know.
Right. Okay, go ahead. Whoever is on the next on the discussion.
In another 60s group, the Contours had a song called Do You Love Me that got covered by several other groups.
I remember.
But they had 2 or 3 other songs, same as before, that they tried to release and nothing happened. The Stretch. Let's see. Well,
Okay. Okay, YR?
I think he's doing laundry. Oh, he left. Oh,
He left?
yeah, he left.
What the fudge? Why? And Ark is still here. Still's on here. Calling Ark Noise Stroker Bean. I don't know why it's doing that.
Walking down the aisle.
what'd I do?
He did do nothing. Skype being a bitch again. Bit of Skypes.
I'm looking things up as we're talking, that's why it's taking some time. The Safaris in the 60s had a song called Wipeout.
True. That's true.
Yeah, it was one of the big
And
ones.
they released several other things that did nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
Hmm.
You're wrong. You're wrong. Nothing.
It's amazing. And of course, there was the box tops who had the letter, which
Yep.
was huge. But they had 6 or 7 other singles that were decent. Some of them actually charted reasonable. But, Choo Choo Train, I Met Her in Church, Neon Rainbow,
All right.
Strawberry Alarm Clock, Incense and Peppermints.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. But they had several other singles that just didn't chart near as high.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Sit with the Guru, Barefoot in Baltimore,
All right.
songs of that nature, which were decent, but
How about this one? Tainted Love, the cover by the band Soft Cell. Now, it came out in 1981. We all know that song here. Great pop song, still played at nightclubs on the soft rock circuit. Who could not forget there was the special version where they mixed in Where Did Our Love Go, the Supremes cover along with it there. I remember hearing that many times on one of the Dewey stations. Now, they had another song called Say Hello, Wave Goodbye that really did not do so well, sadly. And apparently, this is from an article that got looked up, that I'm looking up right now. Alright. I guess they put it out a new song from the last time I went to Numbers nightclub, if I remember. And apparently this song fared much better in the UK, according to the article. It peaked up at number 3. Yeah, so that's about it. Here's another one. 99 Love Balloons by the German group Nina.
Nina.
And the follow-up was a song called Just a Dream that did not do so well, sadly. And he then and according to the article, it says it's sad that they didn't get that much more success. Luckily, the wall's gone, and Germany can go back to worrying about cars and dungeon porn instead of a nuclear fallout.
You are not alone.
They did manage to chart U.S. with the number 2 single called Just a Dream in 1984, but the band's fate was already been sealed at this point.
Okay, I got Gail Garnett, who did a song called We'll Sing in the Sunshine. She released at least 8 other singles that didn't chart nearly as well. Top one, number 54.
Uh-huh.
But We'll Sing in the Sunshine was a big hit for her.
I see. Excuse me there. Now, we all remember that song, Who Let the Dogs Out? Earth, Earth, Earth. You know, that stupid cheesy song. Well, it's one of those party tunes, no doubt about that. They had a follow-up song called Yo, You All That, D-A-T. And sadly, that wasn't as big as Who Let the Dogs Out, unfortunately, there. And apparently, according to the article that I'm reading this from, they thought the group, the Baha Men, thought it would be a pretty acceptable idea to sample the African singing from the beginning of The Lion King, because nothing goes better than begging a done-up sister at a party for sex than something from The Lion King, apparently, there. But it just didn't cut the cheese like the first single did.
Okay, I got a group called the Nashville Teens that did a cover of Tobacco Road.
Oh, yeah.
They had several other singles that charted. They had one called Google Eye that actually went up to number 10 in the UK, but not in the US.
Okay.
117 here.
Wow. Now,
They
here's
released,
another.
Go
ahead.
at least 15 more songs. One of them is the Lament of the Cherokee Indian Reservation. The Lament of the Cherokee Reservation Indian, which later was covered by Paul Revere and the Raiders. They did a cover of All Along the Watchtower. Weird. But nothing ever charted other than Google Eye.
I see. I'm looking at this one right now. It's Carl Douglas's, his big hit song, Kung Fu Fighting.
Fighting.
That's right, yep. Now, we know that song like the back of our hands. It's still a classic. But his next single, unfortunately, was entitled Dance the Kung Fu, which was a stupid idea to call the follow-up song that either way. When you follow up something with the same purpose and the same title as the first single, then you know you're going to flop instantly, because it's like carrying on the same thing over and over and over. And apparently, Mr. Douglas, in the article that I have up, never really had another hit big enough to elevate his testure in the music industry anywhere beyond that one song. His song, Run Back, had moderate success in the UK, but Carl made the mistake of trying to capitalize on the original tale of Kung Fu Fighting with this on the song I just mentioned, Dance of Kung Fu.
That's how some of these groups fail, is rather than do something a little bit different, they try to mimic their hit. A good example of that is Question Mark and the Mysterions.
Yep.
96 Tears was huge. Their follow-up song was one called Can't Get Enough of You, Baby. Look it up. It sounds like a carbon copy of 96 Tears.
Well, that's the record company's idea. They figure if the people like something of this structure, they'll like the same other song with the same structure. You know, like, let's put out the same stuff over and over and over. But
that's stupid most of them are.
Exactly, and precisely. Let me give you another example of that. You may remember Quiet Riot's cover of Slade's Come On Feel the Noise. Big massive hit on the radio on the old MTV back in 1983. Remember that? How that was all over the joint on the radio stations, cassette decks and all that?
Yeah.
Yes. the next year, Quite Right put it out an album called Condition Critical. The record label persuaded him to do another Slade cover and rearrange it in the same vein as Come On Feel the Noise. Only this other cover was Mama We're All Crazy Now.
Yep.
And that got played a couple times on the radio, but didn't do as big as the first Slade cover that they did. And in fact, the album Condition Critical didn't do as well as Mental Health did. And you gotta remember, this album went to #1. And I guess the record label figured, hey, let's follow up with the same stuff over and over and over. But by doing that, you're also pigeonholing the band into a stereotypical sound that they cannot get themselves out of. Which is sad.
J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers did a song called Last Kiss, which was a huge hit. And actually, later that year, they were driving somewhere, and they collided head-on with another vehicle. One of the members was killed, and J. Frank Wilson himself was injured pretty badly. And they tried to follow up. Well, they only charted with one other song called Hey Little One, which reached 85.
Oh, wow. That's a crap.
But we don't know what else they could have done. Who knows?
No. You remember that song Mambo Number 5 by Lou Bega? Little bit of melody in my life, a little bit of Sandra in my life. You know how dumb that sounded? He tried to follow up that hit single with a song called Tricky Tricky. And sadly, it just didn't do as big as Mambo Number 5 did, unfortunately, there. It ain't exactly what the single proven to be when it first came out, when all was said and done. Now, it did well in the couple areas outside of the States, but that was about it. Right.
Okay, the Honeycombs, which I've mentioned before because they had a female drummer in the 60s, which was highly unusual, had a huge hit with the song Have I the Right, which reached #1 in several countries, #5 in the U.S. They released a lot of other singles, and the only thing that charted in the U.S. was a song called I Can't Stop, which reached 48, which actually is a pretty decent song. But there's a huge list of songs here that did not chart in the U.S. at all.
Really?
I mean, there must be 50. It's kind of like Status Quo. Remember Pictures of Matchstick Men?
I heard of the band.
The only song that charted in the U.S., yet they were huge in the U.K. They released lots of albums and singles and did really well. But for some reason, the U.S. market never caught on.
Yeah, and I know one of their other big hits over in the U.K. was Rockin' All Over the World.
Yep.
All right, here's one that really kind of... This is kind of stupid how they did this. You remember the Macarena by Los Del Rio?
Yeah.
Couldn't stand that for crap, man. Every time they would play that in one of the nearby clubs, I just seen all those dipstick people follow along with do that dance. It's like, yo, oh gosh, give me a break. I just wanted to shoot those people down and shoot the DJ for playing that damn song. I couldn't stand it worth a crap. Now, that was a big hit, you may remember, unfortunately. The follow-up, remixes of the Macarena. Why the hell? Why in the hell would you put out different remixes of the Macarena? Oh yeah, gotta keep the stride going. Gotta keep the momentum from dying down. It's like momentum's dead before you even started to try to keep it going, you schmoes.
Then you got the Standells, Dirty Water, huge. But they had other songs like Why Did You Hurt Me? Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White. And other songs of that nature that never did anything.
Oh, no.
Really weird. One more I'll mention real quick. Well, I'll mention a lot more, but we'll go with this one real
All
quick.
right.
The Gentrys, which they had a huge hit with "Keep on Dancing," and one of their huge members of their group
Jimmy Hart.
was Jimmy Hart, Mountains of the South.
Yep, who later joined got into a wrestling scene. He would get involved with the, one of his first factions was the First Family, and I guess it was the, one of the territorial areas in Memphis, Tennessee, and one of his opponents was, of course, Jerry the King Lawler, and one of the people he worked with was the late Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course he would join the WWF and later WCW. The man with the megaphone and the colorly, outrageous outfits that he would wear. And
Now, they had another single called "Spread It On Thick," like peanut butter and jam, but it didn't do anything either.
all right. Okay, here's another one here. We know the song "Play That Funky Music, White Boy" by Wild Cherry. Big hit for them. They had a follow-up called "Baby You Don't Know," and it was basically described as "Play That Funky Music Part 2." We know you're white guys, you play funk, and your song was successful, but when the song's hook has lyrics like "Baby, don't you know that's the honky's got soul," it's like, oh, come on, you need to, that's one of the lyrics, actually. The honky's got soul. I'm like, give me a break. That's cheesy and a half.
And then you had the Castaways, who did a song called "Liar Liar," Pants on Fire. Your nose is longer than a telephone wire.
Yep.
They had at least 8 follow-up singles that didn't do a damn thing.
Ah, man. And let's not forget Debbie Harry covered that song for a movie called "Married to the Mob," which came out in 1989 with Michelle Pfeiffer. Now, you mentioned a couple many times the Lemon Pipers and their song "Green Tambourine." That was one of their big ones there.
Rice is Nice, Salmon Jungle.
Yep, that's what it was.
Jelly Jungle.
That's what I was going to read. The song "Rice is Nice," and during the article that it got up here, nothing says double crap like a string quartet. Only partially to the crap that the tambourine is a shitty instrument. The Lemon Pipers didn't see much more success after cracking the charts with that song. "Rice is Nice" is a perfect example of, I don't know, the title says, I don't know, it sounds like more like rice
Well, it's
commercial.
talking about weddings.
Mm.
Because you know they throw rice at weddings.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely there. But rice is nice for dinner time. Choose your Minute Maid rice. That's what it sounds like to me with that title.
The interesting thing about that band is Bill Bartlett, which was the guitar player, and the band, most of the band wanted to do more progressive type stuff, but their producer was Paul Leka. Is that the name?
Really? Paul Anka or Leka?
Leka.
Okay, gotcha.
The guy that was into bubblegum, that's the reason they were playing that crap.
Oh, yeah.
But at any rate, they had 3 or 4 songs on their albums that was more in line of what they wanted to do, which are actually pretty good, very progressive. There's a song called "Through With You" that's on their first album that has got a lot of prog in it. That's what they wanted to do. Their producer wouldn't let them.
Yeah, because remember, producers, management, and a record company is about making money off of songs, you know. And they figure at that time, prog rock was a big seller. It had a cult audience and all that. But they're trying to get that out to the mass audience. That's what their main thing is. Sell records. Get that record out to the mass audience as much as we can. And sadly, it doesn't always work like that, unfortunately. Right?
There was a group called Bob Cuban and the End Men, which did a song called "The Cheater," which was huge.
Mm.
And the thing that he did other songs, but the thing about this group is their lead singer Walter Scott was killed
Mm.
by a man that was cheating with his wife.
Ah. Interesting. Very.
Which was really weird.
Um.
I mean, it kind of echoed the song. And they had a follow-up called The Teaser, which got up to like number 70. Then another one called Drive My Car, which got up to number 93.
And this is not the Beatles cover, if I'm correct.
No.
Because the Beatles had their own "Drive My Car" on one of their albums.
Right.
Now here's the one. You may remember the song Jenny 8675309.
Right.
Tommy Two Tone had kind of like they had a follow-up song called "Which Man Are You," which I remember the video for, that featured Lorraine Newman from Saturday Night Live as one of the participants in that video. Didn't do as well as
Nothing Yet. Very psychedelic group, and they stayed that way. They had a follow-up song called Pipe Dream. They had a 5-minute version of Tobacco Road.
Mhm.
They had a 6-minute version of Gloria, which was psychedelic. They had quite a few pretty decent songs on 3 albums, but never quite enjoyed the success they did with Ain't Got Nothing Yet.
Now, we remember the song Mickey by Tony Basil, right? The choreography,
Right.
one of the first MTV big videos that played during that whole period when it first started. Basil had another hit, had a song called Nobody, which I didn't know about until now, believe it or not, because I'm looking on this other list. It's like, wow, she even had the video for it and everything else, but sadly, didn't do as well as Mickey. And if I'm correct, Basil also had, she also did the theme song for the short-lived TV show Square Pigs, if I'm correct.
I believe so.
Because I watched that show, and that's the show where Sarah Jessica Parker got her start in, believe it or not. I used to watch that show because Tracy Nelson, Ricky Nelson's daughter, was featured on that show when it ran on CBS for that brief short of time. And man, she was cute, believe it or not. She still looks cute, by the way.
The Music Machine, Talk Talk. One of your first garage bands.
Alice Cooper did a great song of that, cover of that song, believe it or not, on his 1980 record, Flesh of Fashion.
They had several follow-up singles, but none of them did anything. Had one called Come On In that's pretty decent, actually.
All right.
The People in Me, Double Yellow Line, The Evil Never Hunts the Fly, and they did a version of Hey Joe.
All right, there. Here's another one. You remember the song In the Year 2525 by Zager and Evans?
Right.
Yes. Their follow-up to that song was Mr. Turnkey, which is a turd and the words key mixed together to forming one word. And the article that I'm reading this from says this is probably one reason why they became a one-hit wonder. You know, that's about it.
Okay. Syndicate of Sound had a song called Little Girl that had a great 12-piece guitar run in it. A 12-string guitar run in it. And followed up with 7 or 8 more singles, but nothing did as well as Little Girl.
Wow. All right.
They even did a cover of Who'll Be the Next in Line, Kink song.
All right, there. Here's the one by the band The Vapors. Now, you may remember the band The Vapors back in 1979 with their song Dirty Japanese. I think I'm dirty Japanese. I think I'm dirty Japanese. I really think so. They tried to follow that single up with a song called News at 10. And believe it or not, I did not know about this song until I read this article, believe it or not. Because that was the only time we ever heard them on the radio was when Dirty Japanese was out. That was about it.
Okay, count 5, Psychotic Reaction.
Mm.
They had 5 other singles. None of them did anything near what Psychotic Reaction did,
All right.
which is another kind of a psychedelic type song.
All right. How about the Grateful Dead? We know their big hit, A Touch of Grey, from 1987.
Hard to consider them a one-hit wonder, but I guess so.
Yeah. Now, they tried to follow up that hit single with a song called Hell in the Bucket. And I'm not too sure if it charted well or not, but apparently it didn't really do as much as Touch of Grey did, unfortunately, there, if I remember.
Yeah. The Seeds, Pushing Too Hard. They followed that up with Can't Seem to Make You Mine, which did nothing. Evil Hoodoo, which did nothing.
Right. How about this one? What's the name of that project that did that song? Somebody I used to know. It's spelled Gotye, Gotye or Gotye or what's?
I don't know anything about that one.
No, it was a big hit in the early 2000s. I guess around 2009 to 2010 or 2012 or 13. It was a big on the radio there. Somebody I used to, you didn't have to cut me loose. It was played a few times. I remember hearing it a couple times at my job radio. So, and they had this song which I did not know about until now called I Feel Better. That was supposed to have been the follow-up. And obviously, since we don't know about this song, you could tell right away it tanked like hell.
Then we had the American Breed, did a song called Bend Me, Shape Me. Tried to follow that up with Green Light, nothing.
Ah. Right. All right. How about this one? When in Rome. That song, The Promise from 1988, good song from them. They had another song that came out called Heaven Knows, and it barely broke the U.S. Top 100, unfortunately.
Here's a weird one-hit wonder. The Buffalo Springfield, For What It's Worth. They released a lot of other singles, but nothing charted near as well as For What It's Worth. But their contribution is Stephen Stills, Neil Young, and Richie Furay.
Ah, that's true there. Oh, Looking Glass. Remember the song Brandy or Fine
Brandy
Girl?
or Fine Girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably one of my favorite one-hit wonders.
It is a good song, I will admit. Their follow-up single to that, Jimmy Loves Mary Ann. Now, have we heard anything about this song until now?
Nope.
Yep, well, that explains how well it did after the success of Brandy or Fine Girl.
The Easy Beats, Friday on My Mind.
Oh, yeah.
But they were big in Australia. Had a lot of hits down there. Nothing ever got released up here again.
Yeah, which is sad because they were like one of the first Australian acts to break it big out of the Down Under, believe it or not.
Yep.
Now, remember the song? You remember the Safety Dance by the group Men Without Hats from the 1980s?
Yeah, I kind of like that song too.
Yeah, it was kind of good. And they're not British. They were from Canada. They had a couple other hit singles. Not really They had a couple other singles that were supposed to do well as the Safety Dance, but sadly, not as much. You know, like one of them was called The Message, which I didn't know about until now. And the other was called I Like, which I did hear a couple times on the radio, believe it or not. Right?
John Fred and the Playboy Band, Come On Down to My Boat. They had 4 other singles, and the highest one charted at 46, Put Your Mind at Ease.
All right. Here's another one. The late, great Falco. We remember his song, Dear Commissar, and later on, Rock Me Amadeus. he had a song that followed up Amadeus with Vanina Colin, and it did well in the UK and the US for about a minute, but it's been forgotten compared to the success of Rock Me Amadeus, unfortunately. All right.
The Hombres did a song called "Let It All Hang Out."
All
They
right.
followed it up with a song called "It's a Gas." They also followed that up with, oh, let me read this title. "If This Ain't Loving You, Baby, It'll Have to Do Till I Get Some Sleep."
All right.
When the
All right.
heck couldn't that be a hit?
So exactly. Huh. 82 trombone here's this one called 82 Tombstones by Zan Zachary. He had a song called The Cool Ghoul, the follow-up, and it was his follow-up to a song called Dinner with Drac, which reached it originally number 6 to the Billboard charts. All right.
John Fred and the Playboy Bands did a song called "Judy in Disguise," which did real well, and he had a ton of other singles, and the best charting one was 82.
Wow.
Holy crap.
That's
And
something.
that's even a prequel to Judy in Disguise. Judy in Disguise was like their 10th single. I mean, the list is incredibly large.
All right.
That record company had a lot of faith in this group.
Wow. All right, now, the Chantays, they had a hit song called Pipeline. The follow-up, Monsoon.
Right.
Did it do well? Nope.
Here's another one, interesting one-hit wonder, because they actually had several well-received albums. Iron Butterfly, Inagata
God.
Devita.
Oh, a big one there.
They had other singles, but nothing else did anything.
Oh, wow.
Soul Experience, Iron Butterfly Theme. I mean, they had a ton of songs, but nothing charted. They bought the albums, but not the singles.
I know. It's like, I remember having the cassette format of that whole album. And there was this one good song in there called Most Anything You Want, which was pretty good there.
Yeah.
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 All right. Listen here. I'm looking on a little bit more here. So far, it's going to the same stuff here. Now,
How about Richard Harris?
go ahead.
MacArthur Park.
Oh,
Of course, he made his mark as an actor.
yeah.
I
I always wondered if it was the same guy.
Harry Potter's. It is.
Wow.
He was, what is it, Dumbledore or whatever, in Harry Potter.
Oh boy.
But he had a ton of singles that didn't do anything.
Wow.
And he was in a lot of movies.
A lot of movies, including Camelot, the musical, which he sang on that one.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. I'm looking on the other stuff here. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. All right, there. This one, there's a song called Every Mother's Son, which was a follow-up to Come On Down My Beat, Come On Down My Boat. And that's performed by the group
Right.
Every Mother's Son, if I'm correct.
Right. I mentioned them a minute ago.
Yeah, that's right there. And the article says here, the opening guitar licks sound like Pleasant Valley Sunday from the Monkees. All right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Mm.
Hey, how about the Amboy Dukes?
Oh,
Turning
wow.
to the Center of the Mind.
Yep.
Only hit.
Yep.
But they had a lot of other pretty good songs that should have been hits.
Yeah, like their cover version of
weren't.
Baby Please Don't Go. I remember hearing that on the radio back in the day. I was like,
Of course,
wow,
we all
that
know who their
guitar player is.
we all knew who their guitarist
Yep.
was.
Yep, Mr. Theodore Nugent.
Ted Nugent himself.
Absolutely there. And it fits to say that he was one of the first guys to popularize the Birdland guitar into rock and roll, because usually guitars like those are usually used through jazz music there. Him and Steve Howe of Yes were one of the pioneers of using hollow body guitars in pure rock and roll.
The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, Fire.
Ah, yeah. His follow-up?
Coming by.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Here's another one that's most interesting. We know the Buggles, Trevor Horn and Chris Dowes,
Right.
their big hit, Video Killed the Radio Star. A couple years later,
First
after
song
that,
and then
yeah,
first song ever on MTV.
Yep. A couple years later, Trevor Horn recorded another album under the name The Buggles, because Chris Downs was a member of Asia at this point. He tried to follow up the first single from that album was a song called I Am a Camera. And what's kind of funny is that song was an interpretation born out of a song he and Downs did as members of Yes called Into the Lens. And the main lyric from that song was I am a camera, boom, 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 boom. Horn decided to come up with a new song based on that song entitled I Am a Camera. That's featured on an album called Adventures in Modern Recording. And I believe that was in 1982, if I'm correct.
Thunderclap Newman. Something in the Air.
All right.
They tried to follow up with one called Accidents, and another one called The Reason, and another one called Wild Country. No chart.
All right. Okay, Rick Dees, a radio DJ. We know his song Disco Duck. That was a big hit there. Novelty hit, needless to say. His follow-up, Disco Rilla. That's what I say as well.
Well, one that's kind of definitely a one-hit wonder, but I could have been, is Big Bopper, Chantilly Lace.
All right.
It could have been more, but Big Bopper was in the Buddy Holly helicopter.
With Valens and Buddy Holly himself there.
Right.
All right.
And then there was Spirit, I Got a Line on You.
Big hit.
They had 4 or 5 huge albums, but that's the only song that ever charted as a single.
All right. All right. Let's see here. Natasha England had this top hit with Ico in the UK, New Zealand, Israel, and Ireland. Yeah, she did good, but the follow-up that she put it out, I guess was called the Boom Boom Room, only made number 44. That was about it.
Bubble Puppy, Hot Smoke and Sassafras.
I've heard that group
They
a couple
followed
times.
it up with 5 other singles, only one of which charted. It charted at number 128. But Hot Smoke and Sassafras was a pretty big song.
All right. All right, now here's something I just read in the article that I have up. There was a Norwegian pop singer known as Annie. She had this modest and bubblegum hit in 2004 called Chewing Gum. The video in which she duetted with her a clone version of herself may be remembered as a song. The follow-up song to that, Heartbeat, is a more accomplished pop song, but it failed to chart in the UK. And it did chart in Norway, where she only had 2 hits. That was it.
Okay, the Youngbloods, Get Together.
Classic song.
And they followed it up with Grizzly Bear, which did nothing.
All right. In 1991, a singer named Zoe, Z-O-E, She had a mega hit in the UK with a song called Sunshine on a Rainy Day. It became a early 90s pop classic. Her follow-up, Lightning, technically charted but only at number 37, and only just crept in, sadly.
A group called Smith had a song, a cover of "Baby It's You," which was pretty good. Featured, I'm trying to, her first name, her last name was, Gail McCormick.
Ah.
They did a cover of Tears, The Weight, nothing else
And
did anything.
Nothing else afterwards. Wow.
Yep. Baby It's You's a great song, the way they did it.
All right, you got to check that out sometime soon there.
And she's good to look at if you get that video.
Okay, yes, definitely. All right, there. So
Well, we've probably reached the end. And
we
I
have,
only
I was gonna
covered the 60s. I didn't even get into the 70s.
All right, there.
And there's a lot of them in the 70s.
Oh yeah, definitely there. All right, there.
Should we
So-
do a part 2?
Yeah, if you wish to, we could do that next Wednesday there.
Yeah, what were we going to do tomorrow night?
I don't.
We had something, but I forgot what it was.
Oh no, we already did the Close Encounters thing for Movie Madness. We already did the TV memories. That's for
Right.
sure. There. You want to talk wrestling
Well,
tomorrow
what
night?
would you cover?
Let's see. We could talk about I was thinking about this. I was looking up the AWF, American Wrestling Federation. They had some of the 80 stars from the WWF be in that league for a short while there. It's from 94 to 96. It lasted about 2 years. They had some other people, new up-and-comers on that roster there. And let's see there. I don't know. We could probably just throw... Go ahead.
Well, if we're going to cover other federations, perhaps we should do the early ones like Gagne's and
Yes.
WCCW and things of that nature.
Absolutely. The ones that are in the territory days.
Yeah, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Jim
Yep.
Crockett Promotions.
Portland Championship Wrestling. I think it was. I got to look up what they had back in Detroit, Michigan, because there was a studio wrestling show called Big Time Wrestling that had Terry Funk involved in it. Rest in peace. So definitely, let's do that.
Okay, I guess we can do that.
Yes, all the small wrestling promotions from back in the day. We'll definitely look at that. Tomorrow night, folks, WrestleManiacs returns, ladies and gentlemen. Let's definitely do that.
Okay.
All right there. And I don't know where SC and YR left, or why they left, or what the deal was.
They probably got bored. Who knows?
Well, either way, so
They missed a good one, though.
I know, exactly. We had a lot of good topics to throw out there, a lot of good songs, interesting stuff there. So I guess it concludes our Music Maniacs episode for tonight. So next Wednesday we'll do part 2 of our hit songs and others that try to be hits but didn't fare as well. That'll be next Wednesday. Same time, same station. And tomorrow night at the same time at same station, there'll be WrestleMania. So we're going to be looking at wrestling organizations, the smaller wrestling organizations in the territory days, like Florida Championship, Georgia Championship, WCCW,
Crockett Promotions.
Yes, a whole bunch of them, absolutely. So definitely look for that tomorrow night, same time, same station as always.